Today, I thought we'd chat about focus. It is a really difficult time to stay focused. The world is crazy at the moment. You don't need me to tell you that. And that is quite trying on our abilities to just stay in the moment we're in. So today's meditation is about how to find calm amidst the chaos. Um, Meditation and mindfulness, I think, often get misused as um, I think, as Sam Harris once put it, as an executive stress ball. To be used as a technique for productivity and focus and getting stuff done. And it is true that it is very, very good for those things, but that is just so. If you, an analogy I like to use a lot is that of an ocean. If you imagine that most of your life is lived up amongst the waves, then every thought, when you are amongst those waves, it can feel particularly wavy. You are thrown around by every wave as it arrives, and it's really, really difficult to predict where the next wave is going to come from. It's difficult to predict how fast it might get here. It's difficult to predict which way it might affect you. There is another way of experiencing the same landscape. It involves changing our perspective. If you dive down beneath the waves, or indeed if you were to fly up above them and look down, you would see a contiguous body of water, not separated by the waves, but rather decorated by the waves. The waves and the water are inextricably linked. You can't take the waves out of the ocean. You can't take the ocean out of the waves. And when we want to apply this to focus, well, focus while sitting down and saying, I'm going to write this proposal and I won't stop until it's done. But what we'll find is seconds into that process, other waves have arrived. A neighbor has decided to trim their lawn or fix that fence rather noisily. Your stomach has decided it's time for some food. Your mind decides it wants to do anything but write that proposal. And all of these are waves. So step one to finding some level of focus is simply to acknowledge how many waves there are. We're going to just drop into a meditation now, explore how to perhaps see some of those waves coming a little further off, how to insert a pause in between the stimulus, the wave as it arrives, and how we react to it. And when we are able to do that, the waves seem to slow down. Of course, they're coming at us at just the same speed, but our experience of them is calmer. So I want you to, with me, just close your eyes and take a couple of nice deep breaths. And again, in and out. Just allowing things to start to slow down a little, to quieten down. Notice the weight of your body on the seat beneath you or your feet on the ground. Notice any physical sensations you might be feeling. Notice any sounds in your environment, any smells, any flavors. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. And what we want to train ourselves up to do is to be able to be. Relaxation is something that follows. Notice and let go of judgments and thoughts as they come along. If you're to be really clear on what it feels like to be you right now, or what your knee feels like in this very moment, then you need to let go of the narrative of whatever it is that's caused your knee to feel the way it does. The goal here is pure sensation. We're going to do a little breathing exercise. I want you just to call to mind something that's bothering you at the moment. Maybe you said something you wish you hadn't. Maybe something didn't turn out the way you wanted it to go. Maybe you are stressed by your environment. And just briefly, I want you to call that sensation to mind. How does it feel in your body? Where can you feel the sensations in your body? Is it a tightness in your chest, back of your neck, or your shoulders, or your temples or jaw? Is it a self-righteous anger? Is it upset? Is it a sadness? In for the count of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just hold the breath in for 1, 2, 3, and 4, and breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1. If you've still got any energy, hold it out for a couple. And breathe normally. Just letting go of any tension that might have come along with that breathing exercise. And check in with how you're feeling. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel clearer? Are you thinking about the thing I just asked you to think about, or are you with your breath? We're using the breath here as an interruption, a pattern interrupt. If you imagine that your mind follows very well-worn paths, calling some kind of discomfort to mind is a familiar place to go to. With this technique, we are introducing a pause, a little break in the proceedings, just a breath in which we're entirely present. And if you haven't already, please close your eyes. And we're just going to count a few breaths together. It's a way of giving our minds something slightly more active to do, so it's easier to resist the siren's call of everything outside of this exercise. So I want you just to breathe in for the count of 1 and out for the count of 1 and 2. And then in for 2 and out for 3. And in for 3 and out for 4. And in for 4 and out for 5. And in for 5 and out for 6. And in for 6 and out for 7. And in for 7 and out for 8. And breathe normally. I want to leave you with an image. So if you imagine that you are a pebble, there was once a mountain, you've been worn down by the sands and waters of time. With all that water and time washing over you, all sorts of life, live, dance, reproduce, die, and all this while you've lain on the bed of the stream. Above you, the water flows and rushes and it's full of life. And through all that life, you could see the surface of the water. Through the surface of the water, as it swirls and ripples, you can see the banks and the trees and the sky. And on a clear night, you can see all the way into the inky vastness of space. The stars seem so close you could reach out and touch them. And it's very tempting in this metaphor to think of yourself as this isolated, lonely stone on the bed of a river, and a whole load of more interesting stuff is going on above you, around you. But you are more deeply connected to everything in your awareness than you could imagine. You are not apart from the scene, you're a part of it. Your stillness allows you to perceive things more clearly. And the more clearly you see, the more obvious the truth that you are the universe itself. The trick to managing distraction is to realize that you can't perfectly curate every aspect of your waking reality. You can get clearer on everything that's taking place in your consciousness. And once you're clear, you can be more deliberate about where it is that you place your focus and attention. To get out of the trap of being distracted by every little thing as it comes along. You don't need to escape the distraction. You need to see it more clearly for what it is. Just another wave. And you can have that experience whenever you stop and take a breath. So let's take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again in and out. You could start to blink open your eyes. And go back to your day. Thank you so much for joining for another session of Levitate Live.